You have problems with anxiety.
Oh, yeah.
I also have suffered from that, but I'm curious, have you found something that's helped you? How long have you been suffering from anxiety?
Longer in hindsight than I thought. When I was in high school, sophomore year, I was in and out of the hospital with stomach problems, thinking that I just I did drank barium, thinking I'm having all this must have holes in my intestines, and I was just nervous, shitting my pants every day.
That's funny. I find it interesting that you weren't aware that it was anxiety you were feeling.
Well, it was so constant that I didn't think it could have been. It was every day. Which actually probably should have pointed to anxiety, but and then it really, when I was 23, I had my first panic attack on stage, and that was like, oh shit.
How did the show continue?
It continued. I've had
you pushed through it.
Yeah, I've had about 10 on stage, and
shit. What happens in that moment? Do you become very self-aware?
Tunnel vision, and then numb body, and then just a total out of body feeling. And what's so weird about it is that it's happening within the structure of a show that is written
about that.
but to the word, you know what I mean? So it's I can't even go, oh, I'm feeling it. I have to say, so it ends up I'm in Groundhog's Day, and I have a script that I have to keep to. So I have this inner monologue freaking out, and then I'm having to perform.
But you found that you're able to still perform the script while having a somewhat out of body experience.
Yeah, I
was.
Sounds
crazy.
But it was like I'd be a little out of breath. So I'd be the entire show for 20 minutes would be existing on the inhale kind of. It definitely wasn't my best work. Do
you remember? For me, my anxiety. I think I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. And I had a very specific moment of almost breaking, a breaking point where it just came out of nowhere. Did you have a moment like that?
It was, it's actually, I had a panic attack in Providence, Rhode Island, which is funny because I've told people that went to the show have heard this now. I don't think my parents were there and couldn't tell it was happening. Providence, Rhode Island. It was a theater, 3,000 people. Had a panic attack. It was really bad. Then went to New York, had 3 shows, had a panic attack in the middle show. Went to see The Martian the next day and got very, very angry because it wasn't about anxiety, and I didn't know. It felt so perfect for my life. How is a story about a guy alone on Mars, locked in it? It felt so true to me, and then it was just about how he's a good botanist or something. But the movie's probably chill. I was just in a bad place. And then I had a panic attack on the train to D.C. The next day. Which was another show. And I had this was the first week of a tour that was 45 shows in 50 days. And that was when I was
there's something going on here.
Yeah, this is bad and I can never do this again. That was the worst time of I've had a pretty fortunate life. That was definitely one of the hardest, stretches of my life.
And how did you kind of get through it? I mean, did you find at the time, was it for me, it was almost unbearable. I couldn't even live. I was completely debilitated for 6 months, I would say.
Try meditation. I would meditate before show. The problem is there's just a show every night, and there was very surreal comical things where I'd be Googling how to deal with stage fright, before a show in front of 3,000 people. And the answers would be don't worry, if you're doing this in front of your class or at town hall, people don't really care about what you're saying.
Not
and I'm
helpful
nope, there's 3,000 people that have paid $40 and have waited, they do care.
Yeah.
It really helped me to find out that Barbra Streisand struggles with it.
Barbra Streisand.
And Adele. It actually really helped to...
Well, it's such a weird thing. How you almost have to be more of a fucking psycho to not experience anxiety.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
like being the president. I don't know how you...
Well, I've long held that you have to be an actual sociopath to even want to be president.
Yeah.
So those guys don't feel anxiety. They just feel cold-blooded.
Yeah, we got a good one right now, but they're usually pretty bad.
Yeah, I get the feeling he's not having much self-aware moments right now.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Now my body's on fire. Meditation. What did you do?
Dude, the thing is I'm a somewhat sensitive guy.
Oh yeah.
But for some reason I never talked to anyone about it. I don't.
Yeah.
The thing is, I thought
I didn't say
that was my
word.
biggest mistake, and that's what fucked me up for so long. And looking back in hindsight, I was like, why didn't I why was I so private about it? Because I thought I was actually having like a psychotic like break.
Yes.
I thought almost for sure that I was schizophrenic. And I was so crushed by that fact, and I felt like I would crush my parents by telling them that. And I felt just like I couldn't talk about it at all, and I held on to it just hoping it would go away, but it never did.
For me, I don't know if you felt this, like my worry was if I say it, it's real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if I admit that I'm going through this,
Very much.
it's I've spoken it and now I'll never stop thinking about it. And it is, for anyone worried about this, it is the exact opposite. It's like speaking it is the salvation.
So
of the
that's
thing.
what helped me is when I finally talked to them about it. Because it's like stand-up. It's just you in your head talking to yourself, and it makes everything so much worse. Because when you talk to somebody about it, first of all, it's really a very literal getting it out. But then people can talk to and be like, look, you're not schizophrenic. You're not dying. It's just anxiety. Like the things that I hoped for myself but wouldn't believe, people were confirming for me. That was the beginning of healing. But I think the thing that really changed for me was having a significant other in my wife.
Right.
Someone that really like I felt comfortable talking about it and being myself and knowing that. Because a lot of the anxiety that I had was very much like social in a lot of ways too.
Yeah,
you know?
right. Yeah, of course.
So a lot of that was alleviated when you find someone that like you think doesn't care.
Yeah, and you're alone in it together or whatever.
Exactly.
And then you can hate the world.
Army of two or something.
Yeah,
Kurt Vonnegut said.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah,
I never took medicine though, but frankly, I wish I
didn't
did.
either. Yeah,
I think it would have helped a lot.
I almost took beta blockers for performance when I felt like I was gonna.
Beta blockers. We've talked about that here. I don't know what the fuck beta blockers are.
I don't know anything, and it sounds like it's like a '90s board game or something.
Yeah,
so
beta
I don't
blockers.
really feel like doing it. But yeah, man, it's like the sort of my thing was like, and I'm being like truly honest with myself. It's like the two sides of the same coin that like by speaking it out loud and seeing that other people were going through it, and that it wasn't unique to my experience of being, because I just thought like, oh, this is happening to me because I'm living an insane life in a very specific circumstance, you know. Mm-hmm. When I spoke it, I realized like it was the thing I was most terrified of, and the thing that actually saved me, which is like I'm not unique and I'm not alone. You know, I think I was maybe deep down wanting it to be singular. Because, you know, I want to have a very singular experience. And no, when I'm going through, you can understand.
Right,
and I think that sort of mindset is common to anxious people. An idea of it is so I sort of describe it like having anxiety feels like I'm riding a bull. Like my bull is my nervous system, and I just have to hold on to it. And then like being in the world feels like everyone else is an equestrian. You know what I mean? Just like perfectly in sync with their own nervous system. And it just isn't true.
Totally.
There's so many silent battles of it. And
absolutely
for someone, and it's so weird. Like when I saw a little bit of my special that I hadn't seen, you know, in Make Happy, the last one, in 2 years. And I saw it, and I would not believe that person was nervous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I
totally.
wouldn't believe. I would think like, oh, he's talking about anxiety to
just,
you know, because he thinks it's like but like he's not nervous.
Yeah.
And
I frankly didn't know that it was such a battle for you.
After the first show, I sobbed backstage.
Wow.
Because like, I mean, I slept 2 hours the night before. I was shaking like, it was rough. It was
It's incredible that
better
like
now.
even through that you can still do shit. Because like thinking back on myself, I wasn't famous at the time when I was having my worst anxiety. I mean, I still suffer from it a lot. But like back in the day, I was so like even just talking to someone was almost like a real battle for me.
Yeah.
Going on a date was like the fucking. Like, very much like what the movie it describes is like these mundane, ordinary things can sometimes be the bravest thing you can do, right?
Exactly. And that's what the movie was trying to do is like portray.
And it did very much.
And
like,
it works for 13. So I appreciate it. And it's like 13-year-old, life for a 13-year-old or someone with social anxiety. Tiny moments feel like life and death.
And it's so important to overcome it and just say, you know what, I still have to do this. And I feel like that is really what makes you overcome it.
Yes, and like I just think movies tend to push situations into drama and confrontation that needs to justify it.
real. Yeah.
I think people are so fucking non-confrontational in real life.
Sure.
So non-confrontational.
Oh, yeah.
Like, have you ever just raised your voice at a guy in the grocery store line, and then your heart is pounding for 40 minutes afterwards? You ever see an argument in public?
Day.
You're like, holy shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just think life is the drama of our lives literally plays out very small, but subjectively and personally, it's very, very big. So the movie was just trying to be like, can we show those tiny, tiny moments
Dude, successfully.